Hello, everyone. My name is Charles, and I want to welcome you to the God Principles. And look who's back, Mr. William, my buddy. What's up, William?
How's it going, Charles? Hello, everyone.
Doing fabulous, doing fabulous. Welcome back. He's in his new condo. He done upgraded on me and stuff. Anyway, our first topic I really want us to talk about is the fact that this is some information for people, expats in the Philippines. We had to switch phone services. We were using Skype, and so William and I had to switch services so that we could talk to people in America. William, you go first. Your service that you chose.
Well, right now I tried two. I tried one called Talk 360, and tried one called Yola. So far, Yola is working the best. Uh, I was able to receive text from the United States, and I was able to make calls to the United States. And ultimately, that's all we want to do: receive codes and make phone calls.
Yep, yep. I chose Hushed. Hushed worked fine. It took them 2 days to port my number. William and I tried it yesterday. So far, so good. And that's all I want to cover about that. I'll give you updates on these services in other podcasts. The topic we're going to talk about today is about living in the Philippines and the things we had to let go and change since we've been here. William brought up an interesting statistic that, what was it about the 2 years you were telling me?
Statistics say that expats that move to another country, be it whatever country it is, the line of cutoff is 2 years. If you Most people either suffer from boredom, financial instability, something makes them go back to their home country within 2 years. Most people don't make it to 2 years. If you make it past the 2 years, you have a good chance of settling in.
So I'm in what? I just made it past 2 years. You're in your third year, or
Yeah, this is
going into your third year?
over 3 years.
Okay, okay. Pick it up from there. What was the
I,
major adjustment?
I had returned to the United States during that 3 year period. First, the first year I came to the Philippines 3 times before vacationing and exploratory trips before I moved here. So I made 3 trips prior to moving here.
Me personally, I made one visit for 2 weeks, met the people that I needed to meet, and I just made the decision. I just took a leap of faith. That's just my mindset right now. It's just go with it. Don't, because if I sit up here and think about it, I'm gonna talk myself out of it. I've seen that too many times.
Well, you said the key word that a lot of people miss, Charles, is mindset. A lot of people, they've watched all the YouTube channels, including yours and mine and others, including myself through the pandemic. And we learn how much money to bring. We learn to have an ongoing bank account, ongoing income. We learned about having a phone service. We learned all the nuts and bolts, of what you should do. LDRs, all this relationship stuff. But a lot of times, the reason that people are failing because they don't prepare their mindset. Because you have to have a different mindset to live 8, 9,000 miles away from everything you used to know to a totally different culture. And then maybe get in a relationship with a woman that's totally different than anything you ever knew. You have to prepare emotionally and mentally.
William, there was something I thought about these videos that people make, and they give it from a perspective of their opinion or advice. And one of the things that I think is a good idea is tell them what your background is, and I'll tell them what mine is. Because we come from a different sort of background and some professionalism too.
Yeah. Well, I know that I came out of the addictive. I was in the military and I came out of addiction. I was addicted to alcohol and drugs at one time in my life for quite a few years. And then I had a spiritual awakening. I became a Christian in 1987. And so drugs and alcohol went away. God took those things out of my life. Long story short, I ended up becoming a drug and alcohol counselor, which I am now, and also a licensed pastor for 10 years that founded a church and a men's shelter. So I look at a lot of things from the emotional, the spiritual mentality. A lot of times, people don't have the right makeup, let alone in their own country, than to move somewhere where they don't know anybody. They don't know nothing about or anything about the culture. So it takes a certain emotional type makeup coming from our background, I'm saying, to make it in another country. That's my opinion.
Well, no, it's not. It's more than your opinion. You have professional experience, which has prepared us because I'm from the drug and alcohol recovery community. I'm going on 10 years. I'm a professional brand strategist, which goes into the psychology of a person's makeup to help them come online. So these experiences of these big jumps, I mean, coming out of the drug world and then becoming clean after being on drugs for 20 years, that's almost like coming to the Philippines. Now that I think about it, it's like, that was like, wow. So coming here is real similar. So,
Yes,
that gives us a little bit of an advantage.
it makes a difference, I think, because our mindset is the overcoming type mindset. We have mindsets that came out of addiction to be able to overcome obstacles. And of course, addiction was a big obstacle. But remember this, Charles, alcohol you can buy here for pennies on the dollar. If you had an alcohol problem in the United States and you bring that here, there's nothing to stop you because you can buy alcohol anywhere for pennies on the dollar. So a lot of
Hmm.
Americans and Europeans come here and become alcoholics, and a lot of them lose their money and their savings that way because an addiction's addiction, no matter where you're at. So once again, besides preparing your finances, besides preparing all the nuts and bolts, you have to be emotionally prepared to be this far away from home without any safety nets.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to be a person that more like a survivalist, really. That's my housekeeping personal assistant in the background. You see moving around. We talking about that's a good segue. You're married. I'm single. That's a different dynamic. You
Yes.
have a marriage relationship, but I have a personal assistant who's a female. What adjustments did you have to make? And I'm gonna talk about mine.
Well, I think that marriage is an adjustment no matter where you go. Whether you're in the United States or wherever you're at. Especially, I was 67 when I got married. I'm 69 now. We've been married for almost 2 years. We've been in a relationship, and I'm talking about Junie, like my wife here, Filipina. We're in a relationship since 2019. We met online, and so it's an adjustment to marry someone. Number one, I'm in an age gap relationship. She's 34. I'm 69. So do the math, guys. There's a big age gap there. So not only did we have to deal with the age gap differences, but the cultural differences. Um, there are differences in superstition, in the way that they conduct themselves. They have what's called tampo that I knew nothing about, and we can talk about that another time. So
Okay.
there's a lot of things that we had to learn as an American man, let alone being a Black American with a Filipino. So there was a whole lot of adjustments from my culture and her culture. So number one, you have to really get to know that person. And remember this, there's no divorce in the Philippines. So it's a different mentality being married as it is being a single man. Financially and emotionally, there's differences.
On my end, I came over here with the LDR that didn't work. And so, but then I had to face the fact that, wait a minute, I do need some assistance to navigate this world. And so I was looking for not only a housekeeper, I'm looking for a personal assistant because in my case, I'm not only living here, I'm trying to develop a business. So there are a lot of other things that I need to support my lifestyle. And that's a good segue because William and Junie Lai Adventures are the most popular couple in Cebu on YouTube. So how was that transition? Because William, you came here and Junie Lai had a YouTube channel
Yes.
and you had to make that transition. What was that like?
Well, that's and there's probably a whole nother video in that, but I'll try to make it short as possible.
Okay.
I don't want anything to do with being in public. I was a pastor. I was a person that started a church back in the community outside of Philadelphia. So we had vans going to church. My name was on the side of the vans with my phone number, and I was readily accessible to everyone. So when I moved to the Philippines, I wanted to go underground. I didn't want to be known to anybody. I wanted to kind of like just go into my own thing, my own bag. As James Brown said, Papa had a brand new bag. I was, I was trying to let nobody know where I was at, just be incognito. But my wife had explained to me that you could help others. You've always helped others through drug and alcohol counseling, through being a pastor, and this is another way to help people. You can tell them about the Philippines, what it takes. Long story short, she talked me into going on. And lo and behold, the channel started growing once I got there with her, and it's really growing now at Junie Lyon William in the Philippines. But there's obstacles to having your wife, who she's a very attractive woman, to being in the public eye with other people talking to her and other people focusing on her. We had to have our discussions about what the guardrails were. And so we had to almost tie it down. It's really a business, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to be in the public eye. We walk in the malls and people know who we are. So you have to be ready for that. If you're not, it's not
You've
that.
had that happen already?
Yeah,
You've had that happen? Ain't that a shock? It's like,
absolutely.
oh, wait a minute.
And if you're not ready for that, and we're still not that big a channel, we're just small. But imagine, a lot of times you have to be ready for success in YouTube if it happens, and some people are not. So it's not for everyone.
Well, in my case, my first experience with it was back in Milwaukee because in the recovery community, we have to get up and give uh, talks and share and stuff like that. And I was in a restaurant, and this woman came up and she said, "I know you. I heard you share." It was like, and William, I started crying. I was like, because it was like it touched me so much that I was able to help someone
Yes.
from my story. That really was a surprise. We was out having breakfast. Is there anything else we could share on this particular one? Because we're at 14 minutes. Is there anything else you want to share about your channel? This is your
Well,
time to promote your
I
channel.
appreciate you giving me the opportunity, Charles. Well, our channel is called Junie Lai and William in the Philippines. We talk about travel, we talk about relationships, we talk about what it takes to make it in the Philippines if you're coming here. All the nuts and bolts things, the little things that people miss that you need, down to the phone chip, down to transferring your money, down to all the things, having an income. But mainly, what we try to talk about is make it personal. If you're really ready to have a better life in your fourth quarter, because most people coming over are seniors, that you don't have to sit and die alone in America, that there
Yep.
is option if you're healthy enough and your finances are good enough, there is a second opportunity at life, even in your fourth quarter, so to speak, here in the Philippines. That's kind of what we try to offer that option.
If you need any assistance, there's a link in the description where you can contact me if you need some counseling or some support coming here. And with that, I'm going to show this here.
My dear guests, come to Fantasy Island.
There we go. That's